Capricorn, Capricorn, Capricorn. Welcome. Welcome to the channel. Capricorn, this is quickly, before we get started, this is an in-depth look at the School of Athens fresco depicted as the zodiac signs. Okay, so we're relating a philosopher from School of Athens fresco by Raphael Sanzio to each of the zodiac signs in the hopes of obtaining a message, a hidden message. Also looking at a hidden message could be in the mathematics, the science, or just via my own intuition. Capricorn, today you are being depicted as Pythagoras. Before we get started, Capricorn, I must admit that I had a choice for you, which was Zeno of Citium, but unfortunately I don't have any information on Zeno of Citium within the fresco itself. I know he's here somewhere, but I don't have any information on him or who, and according to his likeness that I've seen in the sculptures online of his head bust, I don't see that figure here, and many of the figures that have already been identified according to the index that I'm using. So I feel there's a message there. Maybe you were supposed to be something else, someone else, or go or do something like that. Maybe you're supposed to fill in for someone or be someone, or they depicted you as one thing, but you're actually another. There's that. They depicted you as something, maybe even that you're not. Maybe you're not Zeno of Citium. You were really Pythagoras here. You could also work in education. You care a lot about education, or of course you could be a mathematician. You could be a scholar in your own right. You don't have to be these things. You don't want to waste time, right? Pythagoras, let's read some information, some additional information. Pythagoras would say, be silent, or let thy words be worth more than silence. In other words, if you don't have anything of value to say, don't say anything at all. You know what I mean? Okay, the soul of a man is divided into three parts: intelligence, reason, and passion. Intelligence and passion are possessed by other animals, but reason by man alone. So he's speaking to, that's, I guess, the one thing that separates us from the animals is our ability to reason, which other animals do not, which is a vital trait and a vital thing that gives us the ability to separate ourselves from the animals. But that's not to say that the animals themselves are not intuitive or not. They speak another language that we have to understand. It comes that travels from, it's another language, right? It's a language of frequency of the heart, a vibration is what most animals speak. So even if you say the same thing over and over and over again to an animal, they're not really so much listening to the word, they're listening to the tone of voice that you used when you say it. They hear the tone, they hear how something was said. Maybe there's something to that, since we got on that subject. It's not what you say, Capricorn, it's how you say it. There's something about that. Now, using your reasoning and deductive logic, okay, to do something, yes, reason must be factored in, but again, it's not what you say. The words sometimes aren't important at all. It's how you say it. It's the intention you had behind the words that were used. How did you mean to say it? How did you mean to come across? Maybe you're finding that you're not receptive to an audience that doesn't hear you a certain way, depending on either how you're speaking or how you're delivering the message. Remember, Capricorn, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. That's what I feel the need to tell you in this message. Back to Pythagoras. You may have used the Pythagorean theorem. I'm seeing 1, 2, 3 in my mind. And we know this is his school of thought here, a teacher. And this would technically be the school of thought around his understudies, the people who would have eventually studied Pythagoras' work, who would have learned under this same school of thought or thought similarly to him in some form or fashion. This is Averroes or Ibn Rushd, who's an Arabic philosopher who I've stated in other readings, came up with a cure or the types of what we would call a situational cure vaccine for smallpox. Understanding that working with the body's natural immunities by introducing virus, small doses of virus into the bloodstream, it helps the body form natural immunities to the said substance over time, right? Which is the same thing that we do in medicine today. Pythagoras, though. Why Pythagoras? Let's see. Time is the most valuable thing a man can spend. A squared plus B squared is C squared, right? If these things are true. Number is the ruler of forms and ideas and the cause of gods and demons. In other words, there's a number, a frequency, right? A number related to demons. The number of a demon. Just like we have numbers in the tarot to relate to numerology. You could be heavily into numerology, Capricorn, and you know that certain number frequencies relate to certain events even, or certain life cycles. You could be a particular life cycle. Interesting. 1, 2, or 3 even, I just got. You could be one of those life cycles. Okay. I don't have any more information for Pythagoras except, we could obviously study more of his works, but I don't think that's the message here. What I wanted to show you, though, was the relation of mathematics a little bit in the work, because we know that there's hidden message in code. Now, Sagittarius just got code breaker. They were breaking a code. The message was delivered in a code. All the signs for this specific fresco have been given a certain message. Gemini, it's like Aries and Taurus were creating the message, right? Gemini was the actual messenger bringing forth the message. Cancer was the receiver. Leo, I don't remember what Leo was doing. Leo was like building some sort of structure in preparation for receiving the message, and Virgo was supposed to announce when the message arrived. It's like all the apostles, right? Which I'll have to do in another fresco for the for the Last Supper. But anyway, why is that important? Where do you fall in this? Because Libra and Scorpio had a whole nother message too, but you, Capricorn, where do you tie in? Where do you fit into this structure that we're building here, this castle, this school that we're creating here? Because you are kind of a rebel, you know what I mean? You're kind of gonna go it your own way. You kind of want to rebel against all of this, I feel like. You kind of want to... You have certain foundational principles that you abide by that keep you in line, that keep you focused, you understand work, you understand putting in hard work, you understand time. Time is our greatest enemy, right? There's something about that. You understand the value of time, which is why numbers are important to you. Numbers are important to you. They could literally be important to you. Maybe you're playing a numbers game. Maybe you're trying to grow. Maybe you're trying to scale, to grow higher. Maybe you're watching the stock market. You either could be watching the numbers go up and down, and you're trying to determine whether you should pull out or if she should stay in. So maybe there is issues going on there. So we're watching things fluctuate. Yes, we're watching the Dow In other words, or you could be watching crypto, or whatever the case may be. You're watching the fluctuations. You could even be watching the Schumann resonance. Okay, there's a lot going on. You're watching the alignments, the planetary alignments. Pythagoras is in the same timeline as Zoroaster, Ptolemy, Euclid, Heraclitus. Hypatia, yeah, Hypatia of Alexandria. We're all on a timeline here, right? 1, 2, 3 stairs, 4 stairs. 1, 2, 3, 4 steps up. 4 could be a significant number. Anything greater than 4. What is that? We're expecting change. I just saw the number 5 for you. You know anything greater than 4 results in 5. 5 is kind of scary. 5 can be catastrophic because 5 denotes change, and 5 is Saturn. We know anytime the message the numbers scale too high, I'm getting that. Anytime maybe it could even be like a category 5. Maybe we're expecting a storm. That was another message for Sagittarius. We were looking at a storm. I was seeing something about a storm warning, and I'll just show you my background here. I was really drawn to this storm forming out over this lake, this pond, right? So we know what to expect. Maybe you're expecting some kind of a storm, or you're watching it from a distance. You're not a part of it, but you're watching it. You're watching it build on the horizon. So you know if the storm gets any bigger, if the storm gets too big, if the numbers jump too high, that's when you'll know, Capricorn, what to do about your situation. I feel the need to tell you that. If something goes on too long, if the number gets bigger, you'll know what to do. Yeah, a 4, right? If it gets bigger than a 4, we're holding. Holding is 4 is stable, right? 4 is stable. 4 is also stagnant. It doesn't move. So you want to kind of go back down to a 3, because at least if you do 3, then we're moving again. There's creativity. There's action. There's stuff happening. We're thinking outside the box. Which again, 1, 2, 3 with Pythagoras, with the theorem here. You're developing some sort of a theorem, and maybe even a model, a workflow. You could be a model. You're developing some sort of a model of approach to your work. Got it. Maybe 4 is just enough. 3 to 4, I'm thinking 3 to 4. Is the perfect number. Anything above that, no. Anything above that is no good. Could even be dangerous. Who knows? For Capricorn. There's a different energy for you, Capricorn. I like it, though. I like it. I like it. It's like there's a whole new you here. Ooh. 7 of Wands. 7 of Fire, success. Nice. You're elevating. That elevated quickly, as a matter of fact. When you had 3 and 4 is 7, yes? So 3 to 4 creates a 7. 7s are experience, 7s are success. That is your situation, the 7 of Fire. You will see, you will rise. Yes, you will elevate. You're going to watch the numbers. Now, you could watch the numbers spike. Let's find out if this 7's a good 7 or not. What's Capricorn in this situation? It's Capricorn's strength in this situation. Thank you. Whoa, the Lady of Air, Queen of Swords. I think you're right on the money, honey. Faced forward, you are right on the money, honey. I forgot to read the 7 of Swords in Sage's reading. Right on the money, though. Ace of Wands. Ace of Fire. Kind of looks like an explosion. Watching this thing go up and down, if it gets too high, like levels. There's levels to this, right? New levels, new devils. Got it. You've learned not to rush into the situations anymore, Capricorn. You know how to be patient, like a Queen of Swords, to watch and observe before rushing into a situation that requires maybe even defense. You're on a new level, right? You've elevated, Capricorn. New levels, new devils, but you don't have to approach these demons the way you did on that previous level, you know what I mean? We've raised an octave. You're on another level. Another level, Capricorn. You are on another level for sure. Or you're about to be. For sure. You're rising, Capricorn. Yes. The Chariot. Imagination. The Chariot is your imagination. Yeah. This Queen of Swords has an image that would be very successful. Another 7 here. 7 and 7. 7. Queens are 13. 7, 7. Watch your synchronicities here. We have a Knight of Fire. A lot of fire here and a Chariot. Imagination. It's going to bring about success. It's going to move quickly. You're rising quickly, Capricorn. I think you were patient. It's like you caught the right wave. You caught the right storm, the right gust of wind. You were patient. You did it right this time. Outcome, please, for Capricorn. Ten of Fire. That's 4. Remember, if we elevate to a 5 and the 4 of air. I always get I always get Escher with this. It's like the hands that are drawing themselves with MC Escher's work. It's one of my favorite artists. I feel like you would like him too, Capricorn. MC Escher. You know what? I've mentioned it a couple times, and when I do that, I have to, you know. See, these, yes. This image, exactly. This image right here. It looks just like this one. That's what I'm getting. The hands that are drawing themselves to precision. Just like that. Yeah. That's what I get from this. Now, the impossible world of MC Escher, art and design. There's something about your world that would seem impossible, and yet, here we have these 3. It's like you know what your level is like, Capricorn? It's like trying to describe 3D to a 2D person. Your level, when you elevate to another birth, literally the sun, when you elevate, when you rise, when you are seen, it's like just trying to describe your reality to someone who's never been in your position before. Why? You can't describe your level to people who've not walked through your shoes, who have not scaled the mountains that you have scaled, Capricorn, who have not been there and done that, who haven't done the work. The work is defeating our demons, right? The demons. When you've done the work, Capricorn says you will understand. And you know the work oh so well, Capricorn. Yes. Yes. You can't describe 5D to us. You can't describe 3D to a 2D person. They're not on your level. They don't understand. They don't have the vantage point that you do. Oh, back to the Pythagoras, back to the pyramids here. We talked about them earlier. Why is this important? Messages hidden in art, right? Because Raphael featured Da Vinci. We saw, who had the Vitruvian Man? I think it was Sage. The Vitruvian Man is basically a blueprint to the pyramids. Why those are important. Pythagoras, with, study of triangles and stuff like that. Which is funny. He's featured here right next to Hypatia, so they would probably coalesce with this. Yes. Okay, back to the point. Scaling to the top of the pyramids, the mathematical precision that it would take to not only build the pyramids in the time frame that they were built, according to current modern history, but also the positioning of these pyramids and how perfectly aligned they are with certain astrological signs in the universe, such as the Orion's belt, and some star systems that occur on certain solstices, and the placements. The pyramids themselves would have to have been so perfectly aligned that it would have been impossible, according to modern thought here, for them to have been created. Modern man could not have conceptualized that. That you would have had, they're so perfect, and where they're aligned even on the equator, on the earth, that man would have had to have had knowledge of the sky, of space, in order to visually see down upon the earth, to know where to place them. It's like, so in order to describe that, you have to be there in order to see it. So Capricorn, you had to have been there in order to see it, right? That's another message for you. Capricorn, it's something you can't describe to people. You have to be there to understand it. Or you won't. If you didn't see it, if you didn't get the viewpoint, if you didn't see it, if you weren't there, how would you know? You wouldn't. Capricorn. Ooh. Capricorn, you could have an event coming up to see. And it's like, if you aren't there, you're going to miss it. If you don't get there, that's what you feel like anyway. That's what you feel like. That if you're not there at a certain time frame during a certain time, you're not going to see this magical event take place. It could be an eclipse. It could be Northern Lights. Maybe you need to be there, even if it's a birth, right, of a child or something. If you're not there to see it, were you really there? If you didn't post it, or if no one saw you, did you really do the thing? Does it matter? If a tree falls in the forest but no one's around to hear it, did it fall? Advice, please, for Capricorn. 5 of air. Oh, told you. There it is. Change. Capricorn. 5 of air. Ooh. Conflict. I don't know what. And the Knight of Air. Taking action. Yeah, we're gonna have to change. You're going after a wish fulfillment, and the Hierophant. Absolutely. You're being guided in this direction. I think you know the only way forward is forward. The only way anything is going to stop being stuck and stagnant is if you move. So you felt like maybe you have to move, or you have to leave something behind. You know a change is coming. A change that you're going to make. Maybe you're announcing that you're moving. Maybe all that. You know a change is coming. I just don't remember. It's not what you're getting ready to tell people. I already feel like your mind's made up about it with that Queen of Swords sitting there. It's like you're doing this thing no matter how anybody feels about it. That's your prerogative, Capricorn, and you have your reasons. You have your reasons, Capricorn. I hope you found messages here. I hope there was a message for you here, Capricorn. I really enjoyed this message, actually. I hope you did too. I really do hope there was a message for you. You're a little back and forth. Polarity. It's scary. You got to deal with the 5, right? Which again, remember, you're on another level. And there's no going back. That door is closed. The backwards door, the backwards button is closed. There's only upward levels from here. But I trust you because you came out with the 7s. You have the experience. You have the experience to do something now that, even if you had to start all the way over from scratch, Capricorn. And guys, I appreciate you who support me in this channel, because that's exactly even what I'm doing here. And I do have you in my chart heavily, Capricorn. Heavily. It's kind of scary, you know. You put your work, time, and effort into something that just stopped growing. It just won't grow anymore. It just won't do what it needs to do, and you got to grow. But the only way you can do that is if you change, and half the time that's changing your environment, or just try growing in a new environment. You know, see how you relate to a new crowd, a new crew, a new. Change is hard, but it's worth it in the end, I feel like, Capricorn. But you won't know until you try. You won't know until you elevate. When you elevate, you'll understand why you made the change in the first place, and you'll probably kick yourself for not having made it sooner. You're steadfast, Capricorn. I know you. Because I know me. You try hard to make something work before you walk away from it. You're determined. I understand. Capricorn, this was your message. I'm sending you guys lots of luck, honestly. Sorry. I kind of wanted to get a wealth card for you, Capricorn, because I know you'll appreciate that. If this is in relation to your finances, because I suspect for someone it is. Or it's maybe something you're doing online. Could be a new channel that you're starting. Guys, I'm right there with you. Okay? This is new for me, but I'm not new to this, if you know what I mean. I have experience. Here we go. And I appreciate your support. I really do. For Capricorn. One card, please, for Capricorn. Two cards. My soul came into this life to experience limitless abundance. We have two kneeling soldiers here. And in this ever-expanding universe, my prosperity, too, is ever-expanding. In this ever-expanding universe, my prosperity, too, is ever-expanding. Capricorn. Maybe working on healing our root chakra as well as our throat chakra. Something about our face being covered or hidden. The void in your face. You have a very beautiful face. You're very beautiful, Capricorn. Even if others don't see it. It's like your face is an illusion. That's different. Alright, Capricorn. I'll see you next time. Take care.